We move through life with a default setting, a feeling that there's a clear line between me on the inside and the world on the outside. This sense of separation feels like an obvious truth. It even gives us a sense of safety. But what if this obvious truth is the very root of our loneliness and anxiety? Let's try a simple observation, right here, right now. Pay attention to your breath. As you breathe in, the air that was outside now becomes a part of you, nourishing your life. And as you breathe out, what was inside you now flows gently back, merging with the world. So, where exactly is the boundary between you and everything else? The closer you look, the more that line begins to blur. This simple observation isn't just a relaxation exercise. It points to a profound truth about the nature of reality. This isn't a poetic idea. It's the foundation of the wisdom the Buddha awakened to. He saw that connection isn't something we need to strive for. It's already the truth. The only problem is, we've forgotten how to see it. In this video today, we will explore the profound and liberating wisdom of why everything is connected. We won't just stop at philosophy. We'll also learn how understanding this truth can radically change the way we live, love, and find peace. To understand where the river flows, we must first understand the nature of the stream itself. Let's begin with the first foundation, one of the Buddha's most profound and often misunderstood teachings, a concept that holds the key to this entire connection. If a table isn't a single thing, then what about you? Let's look under the hood together and see how the feeling of a solid, separate me is actually constructed, moment by moment. To do this, the Buddha didn't give a definitive answer. Instead, he invited us to investigate for ourselves by breaking down our experience into 5 main aspects, also known as the 5 aggregates. They are form, our physical body; feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral sensations; perception, the process of recognizing and labeling things; mental formations, our thoughts; intentions and mental habits; and finally, consciousness, the raw awareness of all the above. Let's consider a very familiar experience. The feeling of I am angry. Anger feels like a solid block, like something that completely takes over who I am. But let's look at it through the lens of the 5 aggregates. What is that anger, really? First, there are sensations in the body. Form. Your face gets hot, your chest tightens, your hands clench. Next, there is a very unpleasant feeling. Then the process of perception labels the situation. This is unfair, or that person is wrong. From there, a series of thoughts and intentions, mental formations, arise. Stories about the injustice, arguments in your head, the urge to retaliate. And finally, there is the awareness, consciousness, of all these processes happening. So where is the I that is angry? Is it in the heat in your face, in the unpleasant feeling, or in the stream of thoughts? The more we look, the more we see that there is no I to be found. The I is just a story, a name we give to the temporary and ever-changing combination of these 5 processes. Much like car is the name we give to the assembly of wheels, an engine, and a chassis, but there is no car soul inside. The lesson here is profoundly liberating. If you are not your anger, you can no longer be controlled by it. You are not your anxious thoughts. You are the space of awareness in which those thoughts are arising and passing away. When we see this, we are no longer victims of our own inner states. We become the wise observers of them. If consciousness is a river, then what makes it flow? The answer is an energy that you are generating in every single moment of your life. Intention. The Buddha explained profoundly that karma is nothing other than intention, or cittana. He taught, "It is intention that I call karma." Imagine your mind as a garden. Every single intention, no matter how small, is a seed being planted. An intention to help someone plants a seed of kindness. An intention to speak a critical word plants a seed of resentment. These seeds create tendencies, shaping our inner landscape. Consider the parallel story of two people facing the same financial hardship. The first person, every day, nurtures intentions of resentment and blame for his circumstances and for others. Gradually, his world becomes darker. His relationships become strained, and his mind is always heavy, leaving him with no energy to find a solution. The second person, though in the same situation, chooses to nurture intentions of patience, self-responsibility, and actively seeking small solutions. Even though her external circumstances don't change immediately, her inner world becomes brighter and stronger. It is this positive energy that helps her see opportunities that the other person cannot. The most common mistake is to see karma as a predetermined fate, or as a system of reward and punishment imposed by an external force. The real lesson is this: karma is a natural psychological law of cause and effect. We are both the inheritors of the seeds planted in the past, and the gardeners with full power to choose which seeds to plant for the future, right in this present moment. It is the quality of these daily intentions that creates the current, creating the invisible momentum that will continue to carry the stream of mind forward, beyond the boundaries of a single lifetime. This connection isn't random. It follows a precise and elegant law. Once you see this law in action, you'll see it everywhere, from your morning coffee to the deepest corners of your mind. The Buddha called this law dependent origination, or paticca samuppada. This isn't just a philosophical idea. It is seen as the foundational structure of reality itself. It's expressed in a short and profound formula. When this is, that is. From the arising of this, that arises. When this is not, that is not. From the ceasing of this, that ceases. Simply put, nothing appears from nowhere. Everything we experience arises because certain causes and conditions have come together. Take a mundane example, like your morning cup of coffee. The warmth in your hands holds the fingerprints of the entire planet. The rain that fell on distant soil, the farmer who cared for the coffee beans, the hands that harvested them, the heat from your kettle, the electricity from a power plant. The cup you're holding isn't just a beverage. It's a chain of causes made visible. If any single link in that chain were missing, the coffee could not be there. That is dependent origination, alive in your hand. But this law doesn't just operate in the outer world. It's also flowing through your mind right now. You touch the warm cup, contact arises. From that contact, a pleasant feeling is born. From that pleasant feeling, a craving may arise. The desire to taste, to have more. In the teachings, these steps are known as contact, feeling, and craving. Terms not to be memorized, but to describe your moment-to-moment experience. One leads to the next, naturally and silently. When a powerful emotion arises, fear, anger, sadness, we don't need to be swept away by it. Instead, we can gently ask ourselves, what conditions allowed this emotion to arise? Did the anger come from exhaustion? Did the sadness come from an old wound? The moment we see the causes clearly, we stop taking the experience so personally. The lesson here is liberating. Anger is not a declaration of who you are, but simply a reflection of the conditions that created it. And because everything is made of conditions, nothing is permanently frozen. What arises will also cease. This isn't just knowledge. It is freedom. Because in a world built on conditions, nothing is doomed to stay the way it is. Not even suffering, not even ourselves. If everything is just a chain of cause and effect, are we powerless? The Buddha's teaching on karma says the exact opposite. You are the most powerful force in your own life. He redefined one of the most misunderstood concepts. He said, "Monks, it is intention that I call karma. Karma isn't fate. It is intention. It is the creative energy behind every thought, word, and action." Consider the story of a person who decides to practice gratitude every day. At first, it seems like nothing changes. His external circumstances are the same, but every day he patiently nurtures a small intention to look for and acknowledge the good things, no matter how small. Gradually, that intention of gratitude begins to reshape his perception. He starts to notice the smile of a stranger, the taste of his food, the warmth of the sun. His mood improves. And because his mood is better, the way he interacts with people becomes kinder, which in turn improves his relationships. His external circumstances eventually change, not because of a miracle, but because of the change in his inner world. The most common mistake is to see karma as a fixed judgment or a rigid system of punishment from the outside. The real lesson is this: karma is creativity. Every intention is a brushstroke that shapes the painting of our own life and the world around us. You are not a helpless victim of the past. In this very moment, with the intention you are nurturing, you are planting the seeds for the future. You are the artist, and your life is your masterpiece. The law of connection is beautiful, but it also has a shadow side. If we are all connected, why does the world feel so divided? The truth of interdependence is also the explanation for our collective suffering. The Buddha's teaching on karma doesn't just stop at the individual level. It expands into the concept of collective karma. When millions, or billions, of individuals share and act on the same intention, they weave together a fabric of reality for an entire community, a society, and even the planet. Look at the issue of climate change. It doesn't come from the action of any single evil individual. It is the result of a collective karma created by the relentless intention of consumption from billions of people. Each of our small choices, wanting a little more convenience, when multiplied by billions, has created a massive consequence that all of us, including the most innocent, must bear. Or consider a more intimate example: a toxic work culture. It doesn't appear out of thin air. It is woven from countless small, repeated intentions. A little bit of fear that stops people from speaking up. A little bit of competition that leads to gossip. A little bit of poor communication that allows suspicion to grow. These individual intentions resonate with each other, creating a stressful environment that affects the mental health of everyone within it. The lesson here is not for us to feel guilty or helpless. On the contrary, it holds an immense power. It shows us that none of our actions are entirely private. Connection means we have a profound responsibility not just for ourselves, but for everyone. It turns our small actions into acts of global significance. Every time you choose to consume consciously, you're not just changing your habit. You are sending a healing ripple into the collective web. Every time you choose to communicate with kindness and courage at work, you're not just protecting your own peace, you're helping to change an entire culture. In a deeply connected world, no effort is ever wasted. You are not just a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. If connection is the fundamental truth, why do we so often feel separate, defensive, and lonely? It's because our mind is often clouded by 5 specific psychological veils. The Buddha called them the 5 hindrances, 5 temporary obstacles that obscure the light of wisdom and the natural clarity of the mind. They are the culprits that create and reinforce the illusion of a separate me. The first veil is sensory desire. When a strong desire arises for an object, a compliment, an experience, our world immediately shrinks. It divides into 2 camps: me, the one who wants, and that thing, the object of desire. In that moment, everything else seems to fade, and the expansive feeling of connection vanishes, leaving only a selfish focus on satisfying the craving. The second veil is ill will. This is the clearest dividing wall. When we feel anger or malice toward someone, we create a solid boundary between us, who are right, and them, who are wrong. The world is no longer an interdependent web, but a battlefield of the self against the other. The third veil is sloth and torpor, or mental tiredness and dullness. When our mind is lazy or foggy, our energy contracts. We don't have the strength to reach beyond our own lethargic cocoon, reinforcing the feeling of being stuck in a small, separate bubble. The fourth veil is restlessness and worry. An anxious mind is a scattered mind. It constantly jumps from future worries to past regrets, never resting long enough in the present moment, the only place where connection can actually be felt. And the final veil is doubt. The kind of doubt that becomes a cynical disbelief, closes every door. It keeps us locked in our own intellectual fortress, suspicious of others' kindness and of the possibility of a deeper reality. The lesson here is not to judge ourselves every time these mental states arise. They are part of the human experience. The liberating lesson is this: these veils are not you. They are just temporary mental states, like clouds temporarily obscuring the blue sky. Our job is not to fight with the clouds. Our job is simply to recognize them when they are present. Because the moment you recognize, this is anger arising, you are no longer the anger. You are the space of awareness that is holding the anger. And in that very recognition, the clouds begin to part, revealing the clear sky of connection that was always there. So what happens when the veils of separation begin to thin? The heart doesn't have to be forced to open. It opens by itself naturally. When we truly begin to see that nothing exists by itself, that all things depend on each other to manifest, something inside of us begins to soften. Buddhist wisdom has two timeless words for this: metta, or loving kindness, and karuna, compassion. These are not moral ideals imposed from the outside. They are the natural state of a heart that is no longer walled in by the illusion of isolation. When the boundary between me and you becomes porous, harming another begins to feel like harming yourself. Their pain resonates in you not as guilt, but as a shared tremor in the same web of life. The Buddha never asked us to force this feeling. Instead, he invited us to look very closely, and from that clarity, love arises on its own. Because when we see others as a part of ourselves, kindness is no longer something we have to practice. It becomes an instinct. Interestingly, even modern science has begun to glimpse this truth through a different lens. In quantum physics, the phenomenon of quantum entanglement shows that two particles, once connected, can remain instantaneously linked, regardless of distance. This suggests that the separation we perceive on the surface may hide an indivisible wholeness at a deeper level, something the Buddha realized not through equations, but through silence and insight. The lesson here is transformative. Kindness is not a moral duty we must follow. It is an expression of wisdom. It is the act of aligning ourselves with the true nature of reality. When you act with compassion, you are not just doing the right thing. You are living in the most intelligent way, in harmony with how the universe actually works, and in that harmony, we find a sense of peace and belonging, a feeling that we are no longer alone against the world, but an inseparable part of it. Understanding connection is one thing. Feeling it in your bones is another. Here is a simple but profound practice to train your heart to reflect reality. Just as we can train our bodies to be stronger, we can also train our minds to be more open and warm. The classic method for this is called loving kindness meditation, or metta meditation. It begins very simply. Find a comfortable sitting posture, close your eyes, and gently bring your attention to yourself. Then silently repeat phrases of goodwill for yourself. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy and free from suffering. Allow yourself to receive your own kindness. Then bring to mind someone you love. Hold their image in your mind and send them the same wishes. May you be safe. May you be happy. Next, expand that circle to a neutral person, someone you see but have no special feeling for, like the cashier at the grocery store, and send them the same good wishes. Then, with courage, bring to mind someone with whom you have difficulty. Try, even just a little, to send them the same blessing. And finally, open your loving kindness to all living beings everywhere, without exception. The teaching in the Karanya Metta Sutta gives us an image for this. Just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, so too should one cultivate a boundless heart towards all beings. This isn't about forcing an artificial feeling. This is the practice of planting seeds of goodwill. The goal is not to be perfect, but to practice, to remember, moment by moment, that the person in front of you is not an other, and you don't need to be sitting on a cushion to do this. Start by truly listening to someone without judging, without preparing your response in your head. Start by offering a sincere thank you to the person who made your coffee. Start by looking into the eyes of another person and seeing that they, just like you, are only trying to be happy. That, too, is meditation. That is the path of practice to turn the truth of connection from an idea in the mind into a living experience in the heart. The journey we have taken together, from feeling like an isolated island to realizing that we are actually a bridge, an inseparable part of a great and intricate web of life. The truth of interdependence is not just a beautiful philosophical idea. It is the medicine for one of the deepest pains of the modern human, the feeling of meaninglessness. In a vast world, we often wonder if our small existence truly matters. The wisdom of connection answers that question with a resounding yes. Yes, your life is profoundly important, because nothing is separate. Every intention you nurture, every action you take, no matter how silent, ripples outward, touching other lives and helping to weave the fabric of reality. Your life has a profound meaning. Start today. Choose one small, kind intention. Offer one moment of undivided attention to someone. You are not just changing your day. You are helping to heal the world. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to our channel, Buddhism, Wisdom, Spirituality, to join a community dedicated to living with wisdom and an open heart. May you see the connection in all things, and may you find peace in that knowing.